I first want to say that this video was filmed a few weeks ago when I was feeling really sick. I still have days where I'm feeling kind of sick and super tired, but I'm doing a lot better than I was doing at that point. So even though this video is a kind of downer video, I still wanted to put it out there and talk about my experiences in my first trimester of pregnancy. I also want to send love to those who have struggled to get pregnant. I can't imagine how hard that must be. At one point, I was diagnosed with PCOS, but my doctors believe that it was a false diagnosis. And I hope that anyone watching can enjoy this video and kind of get something valuable out of it. Okay, so I am pregnant. And I have a lot to say about it. So I'm gonna snack on some mochi and chat about what's been going on with my body and mind in the last few weeks. Not that it is anyone's business, but I feel in the mood to rant. And this is the first night in a really long time that I'm not feeling super sick and nauseous. I am currently 8 weeks pregnant at the time of filming this and planning on posting this video sometime this week. It's currently January 18th and 6 a.m. approximately, but I'm probably going to be posting this video sometime this week on Patreon and then like a month or two later on YouTube when I'm ready to announce this publicly. I know a lot of people wait before announcing at all that they're pregnant until their second trimester just to be safe, but mentally I was thinking if anything does happen to the pregnancy, God forbid, I think it's important to be honest about that and open with people about that because I know so many women go through miscarriages and just really bad things happening in their pregnancy that they feel like they cannot talk about at all. And I can't imagine how that feels. So if something like that were to happen, I would want to be honest with people and talk about it. But so far, the doctor has said there's a 95% chance that the child will be healthy. So seems like everything's okay. But I also wanted to film this video right now talking about the realities of what it's like to be pregnant, just because I've been going through it right now. And I feel like if I talk about it in my second trimester, I won't fully remember what it's like. So I feel like I have to make this video right now and talk about it, especially right now because I'm feeling better than I usually am. Got the nice baby hairs, or do these qualify as baby hairs? Straggly hairs from the high bun, so ignore those. So first off, I want to talk about how I've been doing physically. For a while, I've been talking about how I've been feeling really sick. I can't post a lot because I'm so sick. And a lot of you guys have guessed that I'm pregnant because that's a realistic guess. It's, I understand. And I kind of feel guilty posting saying like, I'm feeling sick or I'm not feeling good in a weird way because I do know like this first trimester will pass. It could be so much worse. And so the whole time I'm thinking of that, thinking like, I hope I'm not making anyone worry that I'm dealing with like a really serious illness or anything. Because I know there's so many people that do genuinely deal with that. But I will say, this first trimester has just been a nightmare for me. These past 8 weeks have been horrible in so many ways. And I just have so many things to say about it. I feel like as an outsider or someone who's never been pregnant before, you hear about morning sickness, but you don't really think of it as like a big deal. It's like, oh, you get like a little sick in the morning and then you move on and everything's fine. But of course, it varies. There's some people that have zero symptoms at all. And then there's the other end of the spectrum, like me, who are throwing up multiple times throughout the day, constantly nauseous. I've had entire days where I cannot get up out of bed without feeling dizzy and dry heaving and nauseous. There's been times where my husband and I want to go on a walk and I've barely gotten a block before almost throwing up and having to walk back. And as someone who loves being active, like what makes me really happy in life is being active, trying new things, adventuring, going to the gym, going for a hike, doing things like mini golfing or the batting cages, just all those different things make me happy. Like those are things that bring me joy, and not being able to do any of that for the past 8 weeks has severely affected my mental health. Having days where I'm so nauseous that I can't even get up or I can't even do any sort of work has really affected my mental health. I didn't realize how much I valued productivity or how much I guilted myself for not being productive until I got pregnant and had to go through the first trimester. And I constantly am beating myself up for not getting the amount of work done that I want to get, or for missing deadlines for sponsorships, or having a plan of my day and what I want to do and not being able to do any of it. And the weirdest part is I keep thinking to myself, like, you're being such a baby. You're being so pathetic. Because there are people that are able to go through their first trimester and do things and be productive and be active. And that has completely not been my story at all. And I constantly wonder, are they just tougher than me? Are they just better at this than me? Am I just horrible at being pregnant? Or do we just have different levels of sickness? And both of those feel unfair and bad, and both of those make me feel guilty in a weird way. I also feel guilty because I'm like, this is a time where I should be so excited. A child is growing inside me. What an incredible experience. You know, like so many other women say things like, this is an amazing, magical experience. This is so incredible. Like, this is one of the best experiences you'll ever have in your life. And I'm sitting here like, this kind of sucks. I feel already as if I'm a bad mother for not having a good time during pregnancy. And as weird as it sounds, and I'm beating myself up for not enjoying this, even though I'm so sick most of the time that I can barely move. I think a huge aspect of that is how a lot of women portray their pregnancies on social media or talk about their pregnancies after the fact and about it being so magical, where I feel like, why am I feeling this way about my pregnancy? Why am I thinking that this is so bad? So I wanted to talk about this in a video just in case other women are going through the same struggle and kind of feeling bad about themselves for going through it. You are not alone, and it is totally normal to feel that way. And also for people that maybe don't know the extent of morning sickness like I did not. I feel so stupid and ignorant that I had no idea that morning sickness could be this bad, that the first trimester could be this terrible. And you kind of go into it with these rose-colored glasses or completely optimistic viewpoint of like, this is just going to be magical and so cool. Obviously, if you're looking forward to it and you are wanting this to happen. And that's just not the reality of most of it. It's also strange because your body is changing so rapidly and completely out of your control. Like, it's a bizarre feeling because everything that's happening within your body is completely out of your control, and your body is changing so fast. And I think it really has shown me how I still have some problems from the modeling industry and some body dysmorphia tendencies. Like, this is what I look like right now at the moment. It is absolutely not bad. I'm not gaining 30 pounds, and I might, and that's fine, and that's healthy. But in my mind, for some reason, the twisted part of my mind and the insecurities that were existing subconsciously that I didn't even know were there are telling me, you're gaining weight, you need to restrict your eating, or you need to exercise more. It's that, like, anyone who's ever struggled with any sort of eating disorder or body dysmorphia knows what I'm talking about. It's like that subconscious voice in your head telling you you have to look a certain way, maintain a certain amount of weight. And it is so weird to still have underlying issues with that and going through pregnancy. And I think that the pregnancy has brought out those issues that I didn't even realize still existed in me. And that's kind of created all these insecurities, even though my body is not changing that much on the outside. Internally, I'm going through this huge struggle of insecurities of my body is changing. What's happening with me? this is bad, when no, it is a very good thing and a very natural thing and needs to happen. And, of course, the logical side of me is I'm eating a lot, obviously. I'm eating an entire box of mochi right now. I'm taking my prenatals. I'm drinking a lot of water. I'm doing what's right. I'm resting if I'm feeling sick. But there's that internal voice. And I think that's a huge struggle that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, that I'm at least experiencing at the moment. Another thing I realized is just the judgment that is constantly put on mothers, and even that I subconsciously have put on mothers in the past, that I'm realizing is just really messed up. For example, I'm anxious and worried about naming my kid. I'm anxious about their name and whether someone's going to say that's ridiculous and out there and silly and my kid's going to get made fun of, or that's such a basic name. I'm such a basic mom. I'm nervous about people judging me for gaining weight or for not gaining weight during the pregnancy. I'm nervous about if my child has any sort of issues or special needs or anything like that, or something happens in the pregnancy and I have a miscarriage and people blaming me for it or saying that that's my fault. I don't think I'm going to post publicly the gender of the baby just because I don't think it's really anyone's business, and I just don't know if I want to post that publicly, and I'm scared people are going to judge me for that or say I'm too progressive, or if I mention anything about plans for parenting that people will judge that or pick it apart. I think it all stems from a very valid concern of, obviously, we live in a society that's extremely socialized, and most people want to look out for children, the most vulnerable demographic in the world, and make sure they're being treated right and not abused or anything. But then some of it just gets so out of control. I also think there's a lot of toxic positivity when it comes to pregnancy. And I'm not really sure how to address this or approach this because I don't want to offend anyone. And I think a lot of women who share their pregnancy in such a positive way, it's because they see it as this beautiful, incredible thing that's so life-changing. And what? Are we all going to be cynical about this thing that's occurring to us and saying it's the worst thing ever? No. I totally get that. But I think a huge reason why I've been beating myself up so much for this pregnancy and feeling bad and not being able to take glamorous photos with my little bump and be like, oh, so excited about it, or not even being able to go outside really or do anything at all. I think the reason why I've been feeling so guilty about that and so hard on myself about it, a big reason why, not the only reason, of course, a lot of it is my own internal issues, but a big reason is a lot of the Instagram posts and videos and vlogs of women who are pregnant, who act as if everything is fine and they're so happy and this is magical. And maybe some of them are experiencing zero symptoms and are just genuinely doing really well. But I think so much of it I look at and I'm like, wow, I am so pathetic. Look at these people out, doing sports, out, looking glamorous AF, and I'm over here not even being able to move. I am so pathetic. I think the main thing that's been keeping me going is a lot of the really close friends and family members that I have, like my mother-in-law and Savannah Marie, who's an incredible YouTuber here, who has been such an incredible person to talk to through this and is just awesome in general. A lot of them have been keeping me going just because they've been telling me it's okay, this is normal, you're not alone, we have gone through this before, give yourself rest if you need rest, you will get through this. And all of that has been really, really helpful. But I am scared of talking about this so publicly because I feel like a lot of people will shame me for talking about pregnancy in almost a negative way, which it's not all negative. We all know this. But there's some aspects that I think warrant being a little sad about. And to act like this is just solely a magical and amazing time is just not factual. I also think there's a huge lack of understanding in the world about pregnancy in general, or just a refusal to sympathize, I guess. It has been a struggle with my husband and I because I do not look pregnant at the moment. In your first trimester, you don't fully look pregnant. You don't have the huge baby bump going. But in the first trimester, you experience some of the most intense symptoms. That's when you're throwing up. That's when you cannot move. That's when you're dizzy. That's when you have headaches and just all these hormonal changes that are affecting your body so extremely. Yet you don't look pregnant. So it's hard for people to understand that and to sympathize. And I really cannot imagine what this would be like in a workplace. Especially, you know, before I did YouTube, I did customer service. I was a server. I worked at Olive Garden. And if I was feeling the way I'm feeling right now, and I had to go talk to people and serve them and take their order and be nice and have customer service, and I still had to work full time, my workplace was not giving me any paid time off, because you don't get paid time off in your first trimester. From what I know, let me know if you do, or, you know, if it's different for your situation. I mean, that just blows my mind. I cannot fathom how I'd be able to get through that. Because even right now, at one point during my first trimester, I ended up having to go to the ER because I was so nauseous that I was getting fevers, and I was really nervous about the pregnancy and if they're okay and if everything's fine. And so I went to the ER to get everything checked up, get some fluid in me, and get everything checked out. Luckily, everything's fine. And they gave me a prescription for nausea medication. But even with the nausea medication, I still feel nauseous. Like, it still feels bad. I still feel sick. So if I did not work from home and have this opportunity, I have no idea how I would be able to get through it, genuinely. And I feel really grateful for having this position in life and being able to go through this, as tough as it is, while working from home. And my heart goes out to people who aren't able to do that. And I realize that I am lucky in that sense. But I will say, my mental health has taken a serious toll in these past 8 weeks, just because, as I said earlier, I really like being an active person, having new experiences, going out. And obviously in 2020, I really couldn't do much of that. We tried to do some when it was safe, like going on hikes where no one else was around and things like that. But it was still a very isolated year for us. And then on top of that, in the first few weeks of January, being so sick that I can't even get up out of bed, that I can barely even move, it's just taken such a serious toll on my mental health. And my mental health has really taken a nosedive because I just feel so hopeless and so bored. I feel like I've watched every single TV show and movie. I can't eat without being nauseous, and I just feel like a crummy potato. I just feel like a sack of potatoes, just like super worthless, which is really silly, but I just feel unproductive. I feel unfulfilled and just worthless. And a lot of people have told me to remember, you're growing a human inside of you. That takes a lot of energy. Like, just keep that in mind. Don't be hard on yourself. But I think, you know, I'm a human first and an expecting mother second at the moment. So my human tendencies, my humanness, it gets the best of me sometimes, you know, where I just feel awful not being able to do anything. And then, of course, because my mental state is down, I also feel bad about that too. I feel like this should be a happy time in my life. I should be excited. What if I'm going to be a bad mom because I'm not super happy about this and I'm not having a great time? And you get all of those anxieties and fears while going through it. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say this is a super negative video, and it's not all negative. Obviously, I'm excited. My husband and I are both super excited. My family members are all really excited and super supportive. And through this, I have found an incredible support system from other women who have been through pregnancy, who are helping me through this. And I think all of that is incredible. I think that Pregnancy teaches you so much about yourself. I think my biggest misconception with being a mother and experiencing pregnancy is that you have to be a perfect, established person who has everything figured out before you have children. And I think that that is literally impossible. And striving for that, striving to have everything perfect and figured out before having kids automatically sets you up for failure, especially because with children, you cannot control anything. They're their own little humans with their own personalities, and they're gonna really do what they want. And with a lot of it, I feel like it's adjusting and learning as you go. Although I'm sure when the baby comes here, my perspective is going to change very quickly on parenting and my philosophy and all of that. But I think the biggest thing I learned is you are not going to have everything figured out ever in your life. You are not going to be a perfect person. You are not going to always have all the answers. And the sooner you learn to stop pretending that is the sooner you can actually be present and realistic about what it's like to be a parent. It's a weird concept, but as I have this child, I'm going to be changing myself and continually becoming more and more myself. I'm going to continually be learning because we all are always learning. You don't just stop learning because you're a parent and suddenly you have everything figured out. I'm going to be continually learning while teaching my child how to human. So I wanted to film this rant just to put it out there and have a realistic video on the first trimester for those who are curious or like rant style videos or like my rant style videos or any of that. And so that people know if they're going through something similar that they are not alone. Yeah, if you want to see more updates like this, please let me know, comment. And I'll do more rant style videos throughout my pregnancy on how I'm feeling, my mental state, all of that. I think the ups and downs are beautiful in life, and this is absolutely a down for me, but I'm excited to see if I film a few months later, if I'm feeling ecstatic and over the moon, and that's just the journey in life. I'm going with the flow. I'm excited for what's to come, and I am grateful for all of the positive things that I do have in my life. So thank you guys so much for watching, and rant over. Shout out to all my Patreon members up on the screen. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, especially during this time when I've been really sick and haven't been able to post as much. That support has meant so much to me. I also have some new merch available on my Teespring. It was designed by Mercedes, who's a member of our Discord, and I think she did some amazing work. So check it out if you'd like.